And I'm live. Hey, it's your girl Meeks, and today we're capping it up, and we have another interview headed to us. Now, I'm probably going to pronounce the name wrong. Floerist. I believe that's how you pronounce the name, but she's going to kind of correct me because I hope, I pronounced that right. But I am very excited for this capping it up with you guys. I love you guys very much. I'm about to add her on here so we can get this interview started. I apologize, it's a couple minutes late, but it's not too late. Hopefully everybody is live. Hello, Queen.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Doing great.
That's awesome. You look wonderful, Queen. I am so excited to actually meet you and interview you.
Thank you.
So, how are you doing on this lovely day before we get started?
It's a great day. I can't complain about anything. It's a great day.
It's always a great day. So, I know that you actually have a stage name. I didn't pronounce it right. I think I didn't pronounce it right. I'm kind of mad. So, how do you pronounce your stage name?
It's the Floerist.
Oh, okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So what made you actually come up with that type of name? It's actually very unique. I love it actually.
I was always a poet, so that's how I started. I started as a poet, so I had this poetic flow. And then when I decided to transition more into the music side, I just tried to give it a little fire. So it went from being just flow to Floetrist.
That's amazing though. It actually makes me think about like my teeth for Med like Instate Light or stuff like that because they were poetry back in the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so your first or I believe single was Black Lives Were Fired or
Yes.
was so tell me more about that. Like why did you come out with, an album that and you came out with that in 2014, correct?
Right. So that actually started as a poetry piece. I've always worked with young people, and it came out of my frustration with the murder of Trayvon Martin. That's kind of where it started. I wrote a poetry about it because that's how I deal with my frustration is through my craft. So I wrote the poetry piece, and then as more and more of our young Black males were getting murdered, I decided that that was really my tool. My music and my craft was to bring awareness and more consciousness to what was going on. And so that became my actual first single that was dedicated to Trayvon Martin.
So his death, I actually remember being in college. His death really impacted a lot of things in my mind because I was studying law and I hated, going through that type of aspect in life because people don't see what we see. They
Right.
don't. So it's amazing that you had that song. It actually song made me kind of emotional.
Yeah,
Because
it's sad that here we are again still fighting for the same thing that we did back then, but it definitely is a tool that I use to fight and to use my voice.
okay. So tell me more about that. Have you made I think you've made albums, right? You have albums or do you just have singles?
So I haven't released an album yet. So I've released 4 singles to date.
Okay, that's awesome. So you have the singles that I've listened to was Black Lives Required 1 and 2, Madam C.J. Walker, which I like that one a lot, and King.
Yes, those are the 4. Yes.
So tell me more about those. I know you did tell me about the Black Lives Required, but tell me about the other three.
Sure. So at the first one was Black Lives Required one. That's back. That was when Trayvon Martin was killed, and then I came out with something more empowering. I didn't want my whole energy to be, on the sad stuff. So then I came out with King, which is really a dedication to our Black kings, something empowering. That was around the time when Kaepernick took his knee. So that was something that I created, in the studio. And I'm like, hey, we need to appreciate our kings. So that is, I would say, one of my favorites that I've
I
came
like
out with
King.
so far. And then after that, it was Black Lives Required too. After, as we know, and it's interesting because we're in the trial for George Floyd, well, his murderer now. So I came out with Black Lives Required too as a tribute to George Floyd, and here we are. And then Madam C.J. Walker is definitely the name fits me in totality. Actually, I came up with that song before King, but it was one that was more intimate. So it was a little bit more difficult because it's truly my story. And when I saw her story on Netflix, I'm like, wow, I said that is really very similar to my own in terms of fighting for my career and to become who I'm purposed to be. So Madam CJ Walker is my story of struggle and victory. So that is my latest single that's out now is Madam CJ Walker.
Now, when you said, her struggle is your struggle, what do you mean in turn?
Just when I grew up, my grandmother would always kind of coin me as that woman that was able to surpass the difficulty and really have the mindset to achieve her dreams. She used to call me Oprah Jr. She used to make me learn about Madam CJ Walker. So I guess she saw a little something in me. And so really, I have always been driven. And so when I look at Madam CJ Walker and her story just of struggle to get where she was at, the disappointments, how many people didn't support her, even from, just the health struggle, just fighting for every single thing that she had to become the first Black female millionaire. Like I
Right.
definitely can see myself carrying out, continuing her legacy just like hers.
That's amazing, though. I actually love Madam C.J. Walker. She was actually one of my favorite, African American leaders, and her fight and her story was amazing. Um,
Yeah, definitely
it really is.
inspiring.
It is very inspiring. Now, I did click on your Instagram when I seen a freestyle that you did. It was of DMX, and I was and still am a huge fan of DMX. It's so sad that he passed away recently, but what made you take the beat slipping and turn it into something very powerful?
It's almost tearful to talk about it because
It
when I
is.
did pick that one, I didn't know that a week, 2 weeks later that he would pass away. But Slippin' has always been a go-to for me. It's one of my workout songs. I grew up on DMX in
Me too.
college, from the Rough Riders on. And so Slippin' has always been that song that I go to when I'm feeling frustrated and I feel like I'm knocked down and I can't go any further. That has always been my go-to. So to
Yeah,
hear that he passed away, was painful. I'm like, I just did
it
this
was.
song. And
Yeah,
still, and it's amazing. It reminds us that we're so connected, even when we don't know people, we're connected in spirit because I felt like I knew him. Like
right.
it was that painful.
It was very
Yeah.
painful. I am a huge his message, and for me, when it comes to music, I like the message behind it. And when I
Yeah.
heard your music, it was the message, especially one of your songs where you said they suffocated George Floyd with a knee on his neck, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, like it made me emotional and sick to my stomach, but also was like, yeah, it's true, they silenced him,
Yeah. We
and
don't
he
know
was a
what he could
king.
have been. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's my lyrics, I really take time to think through how I'm feeling and to coin the words and put everything together. And when I thought about it, I'm like, that was a long time for someone to be on someone's neck while he's screaming to his mom and trying to get breath. And he was suffocated and he could have been more. We don't know what he could have been and we'll never know because now he's gone.
exactly. I mean, that to me, that death touched me a lot because my mother has passed away and been passed away for eight
Oh.
years. And if a person is screaming for their mother, that's to me like where enough is enough.
Yeah.
That's very painful. It was painful to watch. As a radio personality, I couldn't really, it was very emotional. Even talking about it gets me somewhat emotional because it's like, you know, people said it. And I get criticized. I don't know if you're the same way, but I am a pro-black activist. I don't know. I take you as the same thing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I have that vibe where you're a black activist. And I get criticized for being one because people say, well, they're all lives matter. But I'm like, no, to me, like, I love all lives, but our lives do not matter. So for you to have music that stands out and says how you feel, that's powerful to me. That's not likely. People ignore what's going on in this world.
Thank you. That means a lot, to be recognized in that light of consciousness. I definitely consider myself a woke and conscious artist. and want my music to reflect that. I'm the person that uses my craft to fight. I'm not a physical fighter, but that's how I fight and use my voices through my craft. So thank you. Yeah.
Of course. Do you label yourself as, like you said, woke? Now, I like that word. I'm going to use it now. Do you consider yourself a woke person? Why? What made you this way, or was you always like this, or is this like your upbringing?
So one of the things, if you notice on all of my singles, it says, you know how they have the parental advisory?
Yes,
So on all of my singles, it has a woke advisory.
I noticed that. I
conscious
was like,
conscious
yes,
content, because it takes another level of understanding to listen to my music, because you have to pay attention to the wordplay, you have to pay attention to what I'm saying. I think I would say that I became woke when I wrote that piece to Trayvon Martin. I'm like, this is real. I said that I've heard a lot. I grew up in an era where my grandparents taught us about Emmett Till, but to be in an era now, several years later, and to still be experiencing the same thing, that bothered me a lot. I remember Emmett Till, and when I heard about Trayvon
the
Martin, I'm
horrible
like,
story. Yeah.
nothing has changed. And so what can I do to bring light to the consciousness about what's really going on in our world? And racism is a disease. It
It is.
truly is. And so we have got to fight against that disease like we fight against any other one.
You're absolutely right, though, because Emmett Tillman to me was the worst out of any story I've heard, and it disgusts me. And learning about it in school and even on my own, it was just very disgusting to witness a 15-year-old and what they did to him, and the level
Yes.
it went to, and that disgusts me. And when people say that, oh, racism is not real, it's like, no, it's publicized now. It's
Yes.
more
Video.
publicized. It's videoed. So when people are filming, when somebody has a knee on their neck and you said, I can't breathe, or a person's getting shot in the back, that right there, it's publicized now. Racism is on another level that you is just kind of crazy. I get afraid of walking out of my door just
Yeah.
because the level of ignoring how, like I said, your music makes me aware of it. But the level that people ignore this, it actually disgusts me.
Yeah, it's nauseating. That's how I describe it. It makes me nauseous. Even with this trial now, it's like it's nauseating. I can't even watch because I'm not going to speak negative, but it's just, yeah, we just have to wait and see.
You did all say in the song your white privilege, and I was like, yes, my sister, yes, yes.
Yes,
I was like, say that loud and proud, like white privilege, because people don't believe that word. There is a thing called white privilege, like,
it is
yes.
real. It's definitely
Mm-hmm.
real. Yep. And this is coming from a non-racist person. So being able to recognize the difference. I don't have, the hate is not in my heart, but being woke allows you to see the truth. And that doesn't mean that you have to be a racist person to see the truth. It's acknowledging the truth. And that's why I'm woke and I'm conscious, because I'm able to see it. And I don't think that's in every person. What I am able to see is the truth, and when it is in someone.
Do you believe your music can influence somebody that's kind of like clueless? Like when I say clueless, like that doesn't see what we see. There's people that are of our color that doesn't see like that racism is a real thing. There's people that are not educated. You believe that your music, as more you go along, will, encourage, not encourage, but educate people on what you're saying.
That's my hope. That through my music, I always say I'm using my music for three reasons: to educate, to empower, and to bring awareness. So if they can be educated, and that's okay. If you don't know, listen to my music. Through my music, you may become aware. It's really all about that, love, the love for each other, the love for our king. So my hope is that through my music, if they are not conscious, that they will become that way through listening, or at least be open-minded. I think we can be so closed-minded, but I say be open-minded to it, listen to it, and who knows, you may become conscious, or you may become woke from listening to the Floerist.
Most definitely. Somebody did comment and say awareness is what scares them. And I agree with that comment. I really agree. That comment, being aware of the world scares them. Do you ever get afraid that somebody's going to listen to your music? Maybe somebody that's racist, maybe somebody that's doesn't see, like I said, the openness that we both see and may criticize it? Are you scared of the criticism you'll go through?
No, I really, I'm not going to say I've always been in this place, but I had to get to a place where I became fearless. Like when you get into your craft and you fulfill purpose. I remember Nipsey said, he said, fulfill your purpose or you're wasting air. And when he
You did.
said that, I'm like, yeah. And when you fulfill purpose, you have to be prepared for criticism, for hate. You have to go into it with that mindset, with those blockers on, that no matter what happens, that you are willing to fight to fulfill purpose. Think about, Dr. King and during the civil rights movement, they fought,
Very.
they risked their lives. So you have to be in a position where you're saying, hey, I'm going to do this regardless, or why do it?
That's very, oof. That's some
Yeah.
jewels right there. I'm so sorry.
It's so funny.
That took me back. 'Cause no, seriously, because I haven't heard that in a while, though. It's people that are afraid to speak up that want to speak on it. And you're like, I don't care who doesn't like it. I am woke. I'm going to say how I feel, and I'm going to put this on the line. Like that right there says a lot, though. It really does. So are you planning more singles to create awareness? Like,
Yes. Yeah. So I have to say this because I don't want to make it, I'm very versatile. So in my artistry, it's just not woke and, from an advocacy. That is my core. So when things come up and we know we will continue to experience this because racism is real, but I also like the love stuff. I like to talk about, love, and that's what King is about. And then I have something coming out this summer for the ladies called Sexy. So it's not just conscious. That is my core. That's who I am. But I just want to make good music that has meaning. So whatever that meaning is, I want it to feel good. I want you to walk away feeling sexy or feeling motivated or whatever it may be. But definitely want people to feel my music and to walk away with a good feeling. Yeah, that's
so
what
when
I
you,
will strive for.
so when you said the single "sexy for the ladies," what is like the what is
Oh,
like the definition behind it, the meaning? Because every woman feels sexy in her own. Whether it's clothes on, clothes off. But the taking you're probably gonna be like, sexy means being comfortable in your own skin.
yes, I'm gonna do, but don't get it twisted. I'm gonna do a little Beyonce dance. It's gonna have
Okay.
that a little bit of that going on. But yes, sexy in the sense of being able to embrace sexiness comes from within. Everybody wants to feel beautiful, but I think it starts within. So of course, it's like your heart's gotta feel sexy. Your emotions gotta feel sexy because when all of that is working on the inside, it just exudes to the outside and then it's contagious. So definitely,
Yes.
yeah, we doing our Beyonce though in this one. I'm we gonna be sexy in every way.
Ain't nothing wrong with being no Beyonce.
Hey, yeah, I'm excited about this one. Yeah.
That's good. So are you ever gonna come out with an album, or are you just right now, just getting your feet wet and just, doing singles?
I see it in the future. I think right now I just want to make good music that people love and enjoy. I love my craft. I love where I'm at in this stage of my artistry. So wherever that leads to, I'm just working as hard as I can to keep producing music that everybody loves. And that's my focus.
That's amazing. Let's take it back though, because I know like I said, I always do my research before I talk to somebody. But I know they said that you were actually born in Detroit, Michigan, correct?
Yes, yes, I
So how was
was.
that like? How was that like?
Well, home of Motown. I love
Mm,
Michigan, home of the Detroit Pistons. I love it. My family, majority of my family is still there. But I think music has always been in my roots, in my veins. So growing up in Motown, my parents lived around the corner for Stevie Wonder. My mother is a gospel singer, when that Clark sister era. So being in music, I think that's Detroit gave that to me. So it's nothing that I can ever get away from. So being in Michigan, being in music gave me those roots. And then of course, the educational side, I went to Michigan State. Woo woo, the Spartan alumni. So my
awesome.
educational roots are there as well. So I'm grateful for the experience that I had, the relationships that I built. And again, my family is still there. So I visit often.
So
What up,
you
though?
reside in Atlanta, right?
Yes, I'm here in Atlanta.
That's good though. So why move to Atlanta?
Opportunity. I'm an entrepreneur. So even as an artist, my background is in mental health as a therapist and as a business owner. There's more opportunities here. And if you know anything about the ATL, it's not, it's what you make it. This is an opportunity zone. That doesn't mean that it comes to you. That means that you can make it happen. If you work hard, you can make it here. So definitely it's an opportunity to grow and thrive. So the ATL has been real good to me. I call myself a
I've
Georgia
heard good
Peach
things.
now. I'm a Georgia Peach now. I've been here 14 years, so I'm a Georgia Peach.
Wow. I'm actually planning on visit in a couple of like 2 weeks actually, and
Somebody said go
every
blue.
yeah, somebody did
Boo!
say that.
I'm just kidding.
So it's amazing for you to like to say like the for you to say that because I've been hearing like people say Atlanta is just it's been so good you make it of what you make it. I'm like I'm pretty like excited for that. I am very much excited for that. Now what spoke to my heart just now is that you said that you are mental health, and
Yes.
I'm so big on mental health. Like very, 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 because I suffer from mental health, so I'm always very big on that. So, what made you get into like the mental health type of strategy? Or not strategy, but you know what I mean.
So mental health, I'm still and still always be the person that people wanted to talk to about their problems, or I've always been just kind of peaceful. Not to say I've never had any challenges, but always kind of laid back and just drew people, like random people in the grocery store would come up and talk to me. So I was like, okay, well, when I was thinking about what I was going to do while I was here, I decided to pursue a master's degree in mental health. And so I pursued the degree in mental health and graduated and became a therapist for teens that were addicted to substances. Now, because of my eclectic nature and liking to have a lot of different things going on, the structured environment didn't necessarily appeal to me. So I pulled away from the mental health sector as a therapist and really focused on building my company. However, in 2013, my oldest uncle on my mom's side, he died by suicide.
Oh
So
my.
he was a police officer, and he died by suicide, and that really brought me back to mental health, but not as much on the career side, but really being a strong advocate for mental health, especially for Black men, because of what he went through.
That wow. And I also researched that you made a song called "A Song for You" in 2014 at a
Yes,
convention. Yes, I
I
actually
did.
researched that.
I did. It was a difficult thing. Our family, we had never experienced anything like that before. And because at my heart is a writer, I wrote this production called A Song for You. For those of you who know, Donny Hathaway also died by suicide. So I used his story and kind of the song as a streamline for the production. So I wrote the production that portrays the signs and symptoms of mental illness, to really help us be accountable to each other, so that if you have someone that's suffering, especially our Black kings, they understand that letting people know how you feel or seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but it's actually a sign of strength. And so
Right.
I am, when it comes to mental health for our Black community, it's nothing wrong with seeing a therapist. I have one on speed dial when I
Me
need to
too.
talk to her. And
Me
there's
too.
nothing to be ashamed about.
It's not.
We don't want people to suffer in silence. We want you to know that we love you. We think it's awesome that you go get help and tell us how you're feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and somebody said in the comment section, what I definitely agree that mental health in the Black community is ignored, and I agree
it
with
is.
that. It's powerful that somebody can see that and recognize that it's ignored a lot. It's actually made fun of too. I remember when Nick Cannon was going through his mental health and he was poked fun of. Like
Yeah.
Kanye West is poked fun of his mental health. It's always poked fun of. That's why I never expressed that I had mental health issues. And I'm actually a survivor of suicide because I attempted and survived them.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so
it,
glad to hear that.
yes, I survived. And
Yeah.
I actually have a tattoo that actually I'm getting that is representing for semicolon because I've had friends die of suicide, and it
Yeah.
actually speaks a loudness to me. But I don't know why in this Black community is ignored. So when I heard that song, I was crying tears. I was crying tears and everything else. I was like, this is a song that needs to be definitely talked about because that's powerful. Because
Yeah.
the fact that you were grieving and you expressed that it's okay to feel vulnerable. Because some people
Yeah.
are made to not feel okay. So
Yeah,
I
thank you so
love,
much for sharing that with me. I've counted
yeah,
it as a blessing to be talking to you and that you are a
it is.
survivor. And having had lost a loved one to that, it just makes me grateful that you're here and that we can continue to talk about it so that we talk about it out of comfort. Like it shouldn't be a hush hush thing. We should talk about it fluidly, like we talk about music. Like, oh, you listened to Floerist's new single? Okay, well, you talked to your therapist yesterday? Okay,
Yeah,
well, how did that go?
you're
that
right.
that how did that go? Okay, and then let's jump back on music. I just
Right.
want to make that conversation so fluid and so comfortable, especially for Black men. Like, let's talk about this. And as queens, we have to support our kings and make them feel comfortable to be able to share when they're feeling not too right and that they need to seek help.
I love that you just said that. Us queens have to support our kings, like our kings have to support their
Yes.
queens. Yes,
Yes. That is,
we
we
have
have to
to.
take care of each other.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do. And there's a lot when I talk about, this the words, like I said, I'm a pro-black or a pro-activist, a pro-black, but when people mention, Black Lives Matter and this, that, and the third, people say, what about black on black crime? And I always say that's a real thing that happens, but does it happen often nowadays? Not necessarily, not now at the time that we're living. Would you ever create a song about black on black crime, or would you create it about, like you said, love and this, that, and the third?
I think what the world has to realize is everything deserves its time. The reason why we're talking about Black lives is because Black lives we're being murdered. That's why we're talking about it. Just like when there's an increase in, breast cancer, we're talking about breast cancer, not other diseases, because there's an increase in the disease. So we're talking about Black lives because Black lives are being murdered. So we deserve that time alone, because when it's something else that gets the attention alone. So it's not to dismiss other lives or other things, but right now at this moment we're talking about Black lives, specifically Black young male lives.
Yes.
Murdered. They are being murdered at a rate higher than, I don't, it's overwhelmingly high. And so I want us to focus on that because that's what we are dealing with right now in our community. That's not to say I won't talk about something else in the future. I've talked about mental health, I've talked about other things, but right now we're talking about Black lives. So give us the respect that we deserve for just talking about Black lives without having to intercede with other lives. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Black lives.
Most definitely. I hate when people don't see the contact. Just like the protest that happened last year, which, like I said, as a radio personality, I had to hear different fence of it, but I understood the anger. I understood the passion that most people had. I understood why they felt this. As African American people, we've been going through so much hate from the beginning. We're
Yeah.
just hated for the skin color. It doesn't matter if you're light, dark, semi-dark, you're hated just by
Yeah.
being who you are. So that's why when you say put some respect and understand this is what we're talking about now, because it's still ongoing. It has
Yeah.
not went nowhere. It's
Right.
everywhere you check. There's a
Right.
woman now that's in jail, prison, wherever she is, because she killed somebody. Oh, I didn't know I had this was my taser.
Dante Wright. Yeah.
Yes, that's
Come on.
disgusting.
And it took us making noise about it because she didn't get arrested right away. So
Exactly.
we are making impact. We cannot take our foot off the gas, because what we're doing, even though it is at a high rate, what we're doing is making a difference. So we gotta stay focused on that and knowing that we're making impact. Well, it's getting filmed. Keep filming. Keep
Right,
filming. Don't stop.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that people are filming it now because, like I said, for so many years, racism wasn't publicized. Even though I don't like it publicized now, the fact that I like is that people, as African Americans, stand together.
Yeah.
That's the part that I love. That's why I said when I found out I was interviewing you and I saw your profile. I said, I'm gonna love this interview. I think this is gonna be my
Ah,
favorite one
thank
because
you.
this is what I stand for. I stand for this type of movement and everything else. Like my boyfriend would tell you, I am a pro-black activist. I'm always gonna stand by it. But I'm not racist either, and I always get attacked for being pro-black and being like, do you love other races? Yes, I love other races, but I love my race. I love
Yeah.
black so much. Being just it's so beautiful being black to me.
Yes, I
And
agree.
that's what it seems like in your music. You're sharing how it is to be black. I love Queen how you're wearing your hair right now. You're just
Thank
looking
you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
It's just a power. It is great to have this conversation with you because a lot of people you can't talk about this to. You can't. And there was one thing in your song that I liked when you said, "Don't shoot." That went there when I kept hearing in the background. I said yes because we say don't shoot, but it's so powerful to have you have that in the background. What made you like have that in the song?
Because we're asking, stop killing us.
Mm,
Like that's what we're asking for. Like it's not a hard request.
it's
It
not
shouldn't be a hard request. We shouldn't even have to say that. We shouldn't even have to say don't kill us. Like it's painful for me to even say it. But that's what we're asking for. Don't shoot. Like give us the same respect and the same justice that you would give to someone that doesn't look like us.
exactly because I see in the news somebody that's of another color, and I'm gonna get criticized by this when I post this for some reason, but it is what it is. But when you see somebody that's a different color that acts the same way that, or even less, they get a different treatment. And like I said, I had to be aware and make awareness of myself with this type of movement because when you see somebody putting a knee on their neck
Ugh,
just for whatever reason, but then you see somebody of a different color being escorted with a bulletproof vest, that is where my problems stand. And
yes.
to this moment, I will never stop being silent until my message, like you said, until the message is heard and received.
Yes. And that there's actions like justice. Like that's what I want. Like, yeah, we're filming. Yeah, there's, arrests. But I need to get some convictions. We need to get you up in the jail cell.
Yeah, prison
I
something.
yes, some time, real time, and do all of it. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. I need that because you
Do
could
every
fire
day
somebody.
of that
Yeah, you
sentence.
you
Everyone.
can yeah, you can fire somebody about racism. You can, throw them in jail, but if I don't see that they're going to be punished for something, I mean, that life that they took is never going to come back. And that's
Right.
where I want that punishment to act because I want you to think for the rest of your life, you took someone's life
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
did. So I mean, someone said they wanted to keep making an example of who they are to them. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the worst disgusting thing was they protect the person that doesn't need to be protected. They protect the villain instead of the victim.
Exactly. We need to
So when
twist
I
that around.
so I said it I said it to somebody when I was listening to your music. I said she reminds me of Queen Latifah Unity. That
Wow.
song to me means a lot. I love that song, and that's when I heard the song. I was like, that's what it reminded me of because she
Yeah, she's
speaks
definitely
that
one of my
message.
inspirations. Queen Latifah definitely is between her and MC Light and of course some others, but definitely an inspiration for me in her
So
music.
so getting back on the topic of yourself, because I know we're talking about a lot. What influenced you so much about Queen Latifah back when you were younger?
I think one because her music was always dope. Her lyrics were dope. When you talk about unity, that is I'm all about the consciousness. But then, being someone that a female MC, it's not easy, and so to be able to look at her, look at MC Light and some of my other inspirations told me that I could do it, and do it well and make it like they did. Just like I hope that another young girl that wants to be an MC, wants to be a poet, can feel inspired by my story and feel like, okay, she did it, I can do it, I can do it too. Yeah.
Now, I used to write poetry. I stopped doing that, but I used to love, still to this day, love poetry, open book poetry, or it's amazing because you can just feel the emotion behind it.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like in this generation of music, that's what we're missing messages and just everything else? Because you hear type of vibes of music, but how do you feel like the music industry nowadays has, changed from back in the day, you know?
I think the music industry has just changed. It's a little bit, it's difficult, but there's a benefit in terms of, as an artist, you used to produce music and then you go push your CD at Best Buy, and now it's more focused on the streaming aspect. I think the biggest changes are from just the industry and how artists can be successful and make this a career. And so really focusing on shows and traveling and your merchandise and your promos, that has changed drastically. But I think in terms of the messages, I think they're there. I think that everybody has their own vision, their own craft, and their own desire, and I think it's there, but I think it has changed a little bit. But I respect all music genres. Whatever that's in you that you feel like you need to get it out. Mine is just comes in the form of consciousness and love, and that's the lane that I am committed to.
Now, would you say like artists like Jill Scott is one of your, people that you look up to? Like, what other people besides, Queen Latifah do you think is luristically like somebody you're like, yeah, that sounds like me? Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say, from a lyricist standpoint, like I'm a huge fan. Tupac is I
Me
love
too.
Tupac. Will never not love Tupac, but also J. Cole. I listen to a lot of his music. He's definitely an inspiration. Big Crit. So that's what I bump on a norm. But of course, I love Jill Scott. I love R&B. I love soul. I love all different types of music. But when I'm in the gym on the treadmill, I'm bumping some Big Crit most of the time.
I like Big Crib. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, what do you think you could change in the music industry? Because I don't know. Are you signed? Are you an independent artist?
I'm a,
Unsigned.
I'm an unsigned independent artist, and I just want to leave my footprint. I don't know that I want to change anything. I just want to create my own lane. I want people to enjoy the music that I produce. So if someone says, "Hey, I just, I'm rocking to King or I'm listening to this," and they feel inspired, they feel sexy, or they feel loved, then that's my footprint. That's my legacy that I want to carry and keep creating.
That's good though. That is very lovely and good. That's actually, like I said, I'm trying to control my emotional being right now. I don't know what it is, but it's empowering to meet someone like you and everything else.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
what is the future for you?
The future is just continue to work. I'm a hard worker, to take it to the top, work as hard as I can, do as much as I can while I'm here, because I believe what Nipsey said. He said, if you're not fulfilling purpose, you're wasting air. So every day I get up and I try to do better than I did the day before. That is my goal. Be better than I was the day before, to work harder than I did the day before.
Well, that's a powerful message to have that. And Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace to him, was a very lyricist and inspirational person. Now, I want to get back to Kings because you said something earlier, and I have a great memory, and that's probably a good and bad thing for me. But you said King was dedicated to Kaepernick, right?
Yes, well, that was during the time when Kaepernick took the knee, and
Yeah.
when it was a big deal then, and now they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you should listen to us then. But that's a whole nother story. But
Yeah.
yeah, so through the song, I have quite a few tributes. I have a tribute to Kaepernick. I have a tribute to LeBron James. I talk a little bit about John Legend and Rick Ross. So just acknowledging the strength of our kings, and then the most important king in my life is my grandfather. So he has a cameo dancing at the end of the video. He's 89.
I did see
Uh,
that. I saw
yes,
that.
that he is the king of kings for me. A great influencer in my life. 89 and still doing amazingly well. So he is my push when
That's
I
a
think about,
blessing. That's a
yeah, when I think about, when I get up or when I have hard times, I'm like, I got to keep pushing, because he needs to see it before he leaves here. He needs to see the fruit of his labor through me. That's what I say. And he will.
blessing.
Yeah.
That is dopeness, though. Now, creating a song like that, though, I know you just said why you created your grandfather, but why the others? Because I know you said Rick Ross, and I believe you said John Legend, right?
Yes, I just wanted to highlight kings in different genres, and so especially for our young princes, so that they can see that they can be and do different things. I talk about Andrew Young, so from
I like
politics to the
Anthony.
basketball court to off the court, we take over. We can do anything that we want to. We choose to do certain things in entertainment or in sports, but we can do anything we want to. So I really wanted to just highlight different genres of success of our Black men, so that young men can see I can do anything I want to do. I don't have to be forced into this genre. I can do anything.
That right there was powerful because, like, you highlighted powerful kings that, don't get talked about a lot. There's a lot of negativity in the world that is painted always in the news. So when I heard the song, I was like, and seeing the video too, I was like, that's beautiful because we need to highlight
Yes.
like the positivity. Like somebody said, positive blessings still exist. They do.
Yeah.
But why is it not glorified? So when I heard the song and what Kaepernick did for this community and what he still continues to do, that was beautiful because I was like, people looked down on him. People shamed him. He was
Yep.
fired.
Yep.
So that was great to acknowledge that, oh my God, like he's doing his thing. Like that was a beautiful thing to me though. It
Yeah.
was very much so. Would you ever create a song called Queens? Since you have kings.
I think this sexy song is going to cover that.
That is.
I
You
think
said a
this
little
will
bit of
cover.
Beyonce.
Yeah, I think this summer song is going to cover all that. I think the queens are going to show up and feel real good about themselves.
That is. Who do you, and it could be multiple people though. I hate when people, when I ask this question, they be like, can I pick one? No, you can pick multiple people. What in this industry are queens to you? Who are queens that are powerful besides, Beyonce? But
Right.
who other queens do you know in this industry you want to glorify in the song Sexy?
Oh gosh, so many. Jill Scott, as I said, MC Light, Jada Pinkett Smith,
Yes.
Oprah. My grandmother used to call me Oprah Jr. all the time. Taraji. I mean, I can go on and on and on. When I think about empowered or feeling motivated, those are just a few, because I really, really look to my sisters and my queens for that genuine, authentic motivation. And I get it from, so, I mean, even, closer to me.
Right.
Yeah, we need that too. We need each
We
other.
do.
We need our queens. We need our kings. We need our kings to cover us, and we need our queens to support us. So yeah, we need that.
I mean, the moment I heard you say sexy, I'm thinking a lot of women, and I noticed this in the industry, and I get this a lot, tear each other down.
Yeah,
And
we
it,
got to
it
do better.
we have to do better as a community, though. I'm glad that we're slowly doing better, but I always tell people, being a dark skinned woman, I am poked fun of because I'm dark skinned, but I live in my dark. I love
Yeah,
who I am. But what is that going to do? Is that going to put more money in your pocket? Is it going to give you the dream job you want because you don't like the way I look or you feel like you look better? I like
right.
when you said that, like, because it's like, let's honor, not tear each other down, let's honor
Yeah,
everything else. So tell me more about why you said your grandmother,
my grandmother.
yeah, that calls you Oprah Jr.
Oh, my
I
grand.
thought that was
So
funny.
yes, my grandmother, she passed away in 2012, but she would always call me Oprah. She would always be like, "You're going to be the next Oprah," and I probably more so from the education and my career outside of my artistry. But yeah, she saw something in me, and that name stuck, and she was like, "You're going to be great," and she didn't get a chance to see it, but my grandfather is the legacy that's seeing it. And so there's some more I want to do before he leaves here. So long live, my grandfather. But yeah, they have really set the foundation for a long legacy for me. So that's why I work so hard. Yeah.
That's good though. So for the not just for music, what's the future for your music and your business? Because you just say you have a business,
I
right?
do. I do. So I do. I help people start businesses and nonprofits. So I started a consulting firm in 2009. So I'm working on some really great things with that in this year. It'll be 12 years for my company that's been in existence come July. So that is something that I'm excited about, creating and leaving that legacy. So between that and just focusing on my music is where I'm at right now. Yeah.
That's awesome though. 12 years? You said
12
12 or 10?
years.
Oh,
12 years,
12.
July. It'll be 12 years since I started my company. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Wow. That's amazing though. It's good to actually talk to somebody that has, business, works with mental health, music. How do you manage all of those at once?
Whew, only by God's strength, truly, because I can't do it in
Amen.
mine. So I really rely on God and praying and meditating. I really do, because I can't do it all. And he really orders my steps, and he's really helped me to be patient and to wait, because I like to get things done when I want them done, and it doesn't always
Yeah.
work out that way. So being patient and trusting his timing has been very beneficial to me. Yeah.
That congratulations, Queen. I'm so happy for that. Now, if
Thank
you were
you.
talking to someone that was younger or even your age that wants to do what you're doing, or even like start a business and everything else, what advice would you give them?
I would tell them that, one, that they can do anything that they put their mind to with hard work. That no matter what it is, to focus on them and their purpose, not what everybody else is doing or what everybody else is saying, but focus on what it is that they want to do. I think sometimes we put these expectations on our young people: go to college, get your degree, or do this. But I think what we've really got to encourage them to do is really focus and cultivate their passions and their gifts, because we can make more money with our God-given talent and purpose than we will ever with someone else's vision and someone else's job.
Most definitely, though. So, Jesus, it's almost an hour.
Oh,
That this has been such a fun interview. Like, it's
thank
sad that it's gonna
you.
end. But last question I would ask: who would you thank the most for your career being the way it is in your, foundation? Because you have a foundation. It's very, like you said, you're fighting. Because it's very odd for a woman to have it, and it's like, I guess for some reason, to have it all together. Yeah, I guess you don't see it strong, independent, and everything else.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel like I have it all together, and I'm probably my greatest critic, because I'm always striving to be better each day. But I thank God first and foremost for making it this far, with the adversity I've experienced and just everything. But then having just a great support system from my family, my parents, my mom. She's amazing. We say we're twins because everybody say we look alike, and I learned so much about being a woman, being strong, and being who I am from her. And then, of course, the rest of my family, my grandparents, that is my foundation of everything, of life. And so everybody else has been an amazing benefit to that. Friends, I have, an older brother, but that family foundation is everything for me.
That's amazing, though. Like I said, it's a blessing to meet you, because me being a radio personality, only trying like and on trying to own my own business and doing that, it's just inspirational that you said, you know what, hard work, and I kept it together. But the grace of God, I had a foundation. That you're inspiring me, because this
Aw,
like has to be my favorite interview, and I always told myself I would never pick an interview that's my favorite, but this is my favorite
aw,
because
thank
I
you.
connected with you on a level that I've never connected with a lot of my interviewers, like the people that I've talked to. That's actually pretty amazing. Very,
Well,
very
I know
nice.
we're going to work together some more, so I feel the
Most
same way.
definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
It is. Now tell the people before we end this lovely interview where they can find you at, like on Instagram, Facebook, and everything else.
Sure. So all of my tags are at the Floetrist. So it's Floetrist. I have to say it because sometimes people tag me and they're like, "You're the florist from Floetry." I'm like, "No, she's amazing, but that's not me. I'm the
Right.
I'm the Floetrist." So at the Floetrist are all my taglines. All of my music are on all social streaming platforms right now. So my newest single, Madam CJ Walker, is out right now. So go check it out. That's my life story. It's real. So Tell me what you think.
Most definitely. I love it. You will not listen. Anybody that's going to listen to her music, you will not be disappointed. It'll make you emotional. It'll feel you empowered. Like I said, I feel so much empowered just speaking to you. It's a blessing, Queen, to speak to
Thank
another
you.
Queen. It
Thank
is.
you, Queen. I appreciate that.
So I hate to end this interview, but this is capping it up with me. So now I'm glad that you were capping it up with me.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody
And you,
who watched. Yeah,
I thank everybody that tuned in. I love you guys, and you have a blessed rest of the week. Not even day, rest of the week, Queen.
thank you. You do the same.
Most
Thank
definitely.
you so much.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye bye.